Welcome everyone. Six Arm Gamer here, and today I'm going to be doing a deck tech on what I call Hardened Artifacts. So, this deck revolves around the two cards, Hardened Scales, which is pretty notable as far as that it just is a one-drop that doubles counters. There's also Conclave, Mentor, which, well, they're both actually additional counters. One additional counter on each of them. We have 4 of both of them because this basically the synergy the deck revolves around. So that's that, and let's check out our artifacts that work with it, synergize with it. So first we have our modular artifacts, which are basically when this creature dies, it moves this +1/+1 counters to another artifact creature. It also comes into the battlefield with +1/+1 counters, so then if one of those two cards is on the battlefield, it gets an additional +1/+1 counter. So, that's our modular cards. So we have Iron Apprentice, Arcbound Prototype, and Arcbound Mauser. One with lifelink, which is nice. The other one with modular 2. The last one, pseudo-modular. It just has the keyword, doesn't really have the keyword, but basically does the exact same thing, which is the Iron Apprentice. So, now on to our other +1/+1 counter synergies. We have 4 Hangerback Walkers, 4 Steel Overseers, 4 Stone Cold Serpents, and 4 Patchwork Automatons, all of which deal with +1/+1 counters and are artifacts altogether. The Hangerback Walker is nice because it dies and becomes Thopters for each +1/+1 counter on it. Steel Overseer is really nice because it buffs the whole team. Keep that +1/+1 counter synergy going. If the Conclave, Mentor, or Hardened Scales are on the battlefield, it gives 2 counters to everything every time it taps. Stone Cold Serpent, just kind of a filler +1/+1 counter card that's really good. Can play as 1-drop, can play it as a 10-drop. Doesn't matter. Whatever works best for the situation. Patchwork Automaton grows every single time you play an artifact, which is really sweet. It also has Word 2, which keeps it from getting destroyed as easily as something as a Fatal Push. Fatal Push now costs 3. That's a big game changer. So now moving on to our card advantage. We have 4 Ingenious Smiths and 4 Esper Sentinels. The Ingenious Smiths are just a redraw, but it does get +1/+1 counters, so it synergizes really nicely. The Esper Sentinel, though, does not really get +1/+1 counters, but the bigger it gets, which Mulder can move over to it because it is an artifact creature, will make it harder for the opponent to play non-creature spells because it will draw us a card. So that's the card engine setup. So now let's move on to the utility lands. The utility lands are Karn's Bastion, and that's it. All the rest are just basic dual lands in the Selesnya colors. So that's that. 3 of those. It's good. It proliferates. It gives more +1/+1 counters. It's pretty nice. And to the sideboard. Well, the sideboard is full of a lot of different ways to protect the combo. So Authority of the Consoles, basically to deal with those aggro decks. Fateful Absence to destroy planeswalkers mostly, but it does do good with creatures if necessary. Manative to deal with them pesky counter decks. Hopeful Initiate synergizes really well with +1/+1 counter synergies, but also gets rid of artifacts and enchantments, which is a big deal. Lion Sash for graveyards. And it's an artifact creature, and it gets +1/+1 counters, so it synergizes nicely. 2 Shatter the Skies, basically for aggro-y matchups that need a board wipe, or any big creature matchups that need a board wipe. Also, the draw card, if your power is 4 or greater, can be pretty significant in this deck because you're buffing everything with +1/+1 counters. And that means a creature can get really big, really fast. And finally, Heroic Intervention for board wipes. And that is Hardened Artifacts for you guys. I hope you really enjoyed this deck tech. Go play the deck and have a ton of fun. check it out. Please like and subscribe. Maybe even hit that notification button if you like the content. Otherwise, come check me out on Twitch. Check me out on Patreon. There's going to be giveaways on Patreon. Other than that, you guys have a great day. And this is 6 Armed Gainer signing off.